go around the whole world and scout around, and they fly in by internet. Okay, so workplace habit. Now we told them from the very beginning, we conduct a safety talk to all of them. Okay, what they must do, what they must not do in the lab. So we want them to abide by all these rules. Okay, when they go to the lab, if it's heavy equipment, we want them to wear shoes. So if they don't listen, they just do what they want to do, we will mark them down for this. Okay, initiative. Now, if everything the supervisor had to tell them what to do, this part we'll tell them they will score very poorly. We want them to exhibit creativity and initiative and leadership. Okay, so if everything they must come back to the supervisor, what to do, then okay, we will tell you, but you will get very low marks for this part. So this is something which we tell them very clearly. Leadership potential, all right, as I said earlier on. Organization and planning, how well they organize. Some students don't plan at all, so therefore they will score very badly here. And teamwork, okay. Teamwork here, sometimes they fight like crazy. Even among very good students, they also fight. Because a student, I got 2 years ago, I won 3 A students, distinction students. But 2 of them think that they have done much more than the third fellow. Okay, and they come to me for counseling because they couldn't resolve among themselves. Okay, they came and they cry. Okay, to that point where they cry. Okay, so I have to play the middleman to mediate between them. Okay, and at the same time I told them, you must learn, because in the outside world, okay, you may not work with people that you like, so you have to learn to tolerate each other and work as a team. So that part, if they continue to fight without compromising, then I will mark them down for the teamwork. Okay. So come to exhibition, which is the 20%. Okay, they have to exhibit in end of the semester. They have to exhibit their work. Okay, seminar. They organize a seminar. In fact, we want them to participate in the organization of the seminar. Not everything the supervisor organizes for them. We want them to participate. And then we want them to entertain the visitor, to engage with the audience. If they just stand there when the audience come, when the industry people come, they don't be forthcoming to offer, to wow them, okay, with what their project, then they will score very poorly here. Okay, so we tell them all this. And of course, if they do everything very, very good, okay, and sometimes the supervisor have a tendency to mark their student very highly. Okay, and that is a tendency. The supervisor, or every supervisor wants to be nice to the student as well. So everyone wants to give the supervisors distinction, distinction, distinction. So therefore, we don't control the number of A's, but we control the number of distinction. So for those projects which the supervisor recommend for distinction, they have to go through a panel, okay? And the panel will judge whether this group of students, or not just this group of students, even within the group of students, not everybody deserves distinction. Maybe one among the group deserves distinction. We will interview them. So the distinction panel will control the number of distinctions. So we only control the number of distinctions. And it is important that we tell them that we don't control the number of A's. The reason is this. We want them to work together. If you control the number of A's, how do you ask them to work together? It is in conflict with your message. If you want them to work together, they must help each other. And you control the number of A's. If they help each other, then the number of A's is controlled. That means they will get a smaller chance of getting an A. So it's very important. We shouldn't control the number of A's. But we do control the number of distinctions. And distinctions and A's carry the same weightage of GPA point. We told them very clearly. Okay? So that's how we manage this conflict. Okay? So the student will do a seminar, and they are required to put up an A1 size poster presentation. Okay? We have a machine to print out the A4 size poster. I think this is common in many universities. I believe it's same as Chula, right? To a panel of judges and audience, students will organize a seminar. And now, because the multidisciplinary project is in the first semester. In the second semester, that is right now. They've already finished their MDP last semester. Right now, come January, which I told Professor Mana, in January, the first week of January, we will be organizing the SP Engineering Show. Among all the various faculty and engineering, they will be showcasing their best projects. Okay, so they have finished their assessment already, but we also want them to participate. Their marks have already been given, so by right, they don't have to participate. But in the good nature and spirit, we also want them to participate. We ask them, and I think, knowing our students, they will participate. They will be very proud to show off their work. So they will be participating in the SP Engineering Show as well. So, what are the deliverables? So we issue them a very clear guideline. When do we expect what, when, so that there is no surprises. Okay. So an initial report by middle and end of first term, a final report by end of first semester, regular presentation every fortnightly, final presentation end of semester, a block, regular, we want it to be updated, not just a block from day one until the end, that's it. There's not a block. A block must be updated regularly, and of course the physical project, okay? And the seminar itself, okay? So these are the few things that we want them to follow, guideline, okay? And the report, what do we want them? Again, we give them a very clear guideline what they want, and I believe it's happening in many universities, including Chula. All right, the report should contain the project title, okay, the teammate members, and then of course the objective of the project. Okay, why is it different from last year? If it's a continuation from last year's project, how is it different from other people? What is so novel about their project? So special about the project? Okay. Hardware overview, hardware details, software overview, and software details. All right, and then how they integrate the project, the process. We want them to explain the process, the problems encountered, and how they overcome the problems. Okay, and lessons learned, and conclusion. Okay, how much the project is met, how much does it cost? Because we want them to be mindful of the financial aspect as well. And I also told, I think yesterday, that we want them to be green, and some project, if it's of a green nature, we want them to account for the amount of savings the project have brought about. It's not how much they have spent, it's how much they have saved if they have used recyclable materials. So they should be able to account, let's say if you use some equipment or some devices or some component from last year's projects, there should be some accounting for the financial aspect of those quantities of those devices. We want them to account for it, and then they add it up. It could be quite substantial. It could cost more than what they actually pay for the new components. All right. So we are thinking of creating a special price for the students group who has managed to save the most from recycling. So there is one way to promote students from using recyclable materials. So again, students are always motivated by prizes. And what possible improvement for future students? And of course, if you look at all this, we want them to include photos, figures, to help with the explanation and illustrations. And don't forget to thank the supervisor and technical staff. We want them to be courteous, to acknowledge people whom has helped them, okay? And in the report, we want them to include all important details. And of course, proofread, because if there are a lot of grammatical error, we don't want that to be there. So the final copies should have both a soft copy and a hard copy as well. And in the presentation, we want them to capture a video clip, okay? So therefore, this is a sample cover report, which we tell them, okay, all of you have a standard cover report. This is a sample, okay? And then maybe just to show you, these are some of the things, the major contents of what it should have, which I think is quite standard across most reports, okay? And then maybe I'll show you some samples of the poster presentation done by the last batch of students. Okay, this is just fresh from the oven, which I before coming here, I asked them to send it to me. So these are some of them. This is autonomous flying machine control system, and this is a poster presentation, okay, of the projects, okay. This is where they put up the project next to the project, and visitors came, and then they will have to explain, okay. This is another one, UAV again. There are a lot of UAV project done by both aerospace and electrical engineering students, okay, to display essential flight detail and enhance homeland security. All right. You know, nowadays some of these UAVs we use them to work very closely with our homeland security, to detect various sometimes undesirable elements as well. Okay. This is another one, to map unknown area with the use of laser range finder, which is integrated with UAV that is flown manually. So they are supposed to map out. That means they go for a particular mission, and then they map out whether there's object or no object, the layout of a room. Okay, this particular UAV will just fly into maybe a room like this, okay, and map out what are the things there is here, and then come back. Okay, they have scanned this whole place. Okay, so it's quite important. Let's say I'm sitting here. You have a UAV map this room. Map at the end of the day, okay, this UAV will be able to tell I'm actually sitting in this part of the room. Wow. So maybe I don't know what they're going to do after that. So data link communication is another one. Some of them I also don't know what they're doing. Okay. Here's another one. Okay, so students on board sensors. Here's another one, unmanned aerial vehicle. Okay, okay. So that is more or less my part of the presentation on the CDIO skills assessment. Hopefully, I give you a glimpse into how we assess the CDIO skills in a multidisciplinary project. Okay. So is there any question? I will try to answer them. Yes? Okay. Okay, I'm still learning on this. Okay. When the students of course are encouraged to employ all the design thinking skills that they have learned. Okay, and then they come up with the final proposal of the first project, and then they do the same thing for the second project. Each project, they have to map out the pros and cons, how far it can go, who are they helping, okay, and what is the benefit of a particular project, okay. So they have to scope the project and tell and show proof to the supervisor each project, what is the benefit and what is the problem, what is the aim, how much it costs, whether it's implementable or not, things like that. So they have to map out all these things. So as a supervisor, I will have to listen and make a judgment and to see whether they have actually gone through this analysis, so-called, to assess each and every one of these project benefits and so-called cost and outcome. Then finally, the one that they choose, it's not I choose. I will ask them why they choose that particular one. So they will have to convince me that why they choose that particular one. So at the end of the day, it's a matter of it's just like there's no hard and fast rule at this point in time. Okay, we will have to see whether, as a supervisor, what they have presented is reasonable or not. If the cost $10,000, I can't, I don't have the money to pay for that. So even if they have fantastic idea, I will tell them, really this particular project is not achievable because I just don't have the financial means to support this particular project. Or certain projects requires them to travel somewhere else, work with some industry outside, which we will have to make assessment whether is it sustainable or not? Okay, so therefore we have to weigh each and every project on its own merit.
For example, in senior project, in our case, for the senior project, once a student can know the objective of the project, they will create the ideas, like few alternatives, like three alternatives, and this three would need to answer multi objective. And in our case, we have a matrix to decide which one is the best.
I see.
So in your case, what type of method?
At this point in time, personally, we have not come up with a fixed method in assessing. I don't have a rubric to weigh the in terms of score, each one of them, because the students are given only about 2 to 3 weeks initially to scope the project. Okay, so at this point in time, they are just presenting the ideas, so they haven't gone into deep calculation yet. So they will have to project, imagine if they will do this, do some estimation on the various aspects which I just told you. Okay? Yeah, and decide on one. Okay. I don't know whether Helene have any special recommendation on the actual selection on the very final product. Okay.
I think we would like to learn about your metrics. We would like to learn about your metrics. What's the criteria in your metrics?
For example, they create like one of the projects they create wheelchair that can climb to the ladder, and they create like few alternatives. Whether use this kind of mechanism, another mechanism, and for this mechanism they will have the cost with factor, the manufacturing, how hard is it to manufacture, how hard is it to use, how the user friendly it is. For the one design, you have to put the weighting, like this is 5, this is 4, this is 3, this is 2, and another thing, another design, you have a different numbers, and eventually somehow you weigh it out and get one number to decide.
I mean that it could be one way, but I'm not sure, because at the end of the day, we are equating apple and oranges sometimes.
So
all right.
I would ask.
You know what I mean? So therefore, even if we put it in the rubric, this particular weightage, it may carry a different weightage compared to the cost of a durian versus the cost of a pineapple, cost of a mango. At the end, the sweetness of an apple is how much? Okay, the cost of apple. So it's like you're trying to add up the total cost of different criteria, and then from the engineering perspective, we come up with a number. So I don't know, you have to make a judgment whether we can do that kind of summation to add up. Okay, so I mean, your method is probably one method. Yes. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, I know. It is a good one way to. Yeah, agree. I agree. Yes. Agree.
What I can share really is a conversation I had with the faculty from Stanford University. So I was asking him this question. I said, how do you promote innovation? My focus is on innovation. So how do you encourage your students to be innovative and to come up with innovative products, and projects? Because we were discussing about assessment, and when there is assessment attached to a project, everyone wants to do the best. They want to get A, okay? But sometimes when you come up with an innovative project or product, it doesn't guarantee you an A because it's unknown. The innovation has a lot of unknowns to it. So he's telling me that even at Stanford, all of them want to get A. Okay? And therefore, sometimes innovative ideas are pushed aside so that they can do something which they are sure they'll get an A. Okay? Yeah. Right. So I said, then how do you all deal with it?